Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Today we're looking at Die Siedler von Nurnberg. I hope I said that correctly. Which is just Catan with a Nuremberg twist onto it. Just like you've seen Ticket to Ride with Amsterdam and different countries around. Here we'll get Nuremberg for Catan. Now, I should start out with saying I was never a Catan fan. It was an okay game. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my gateway game though, and doesn't hold a special place in my heart. I've played a lot of Catan games, and I always kind of left with, not my thing. The trading thing, I get iced out a lot because I own the game and I play the game and I'm reading the rules and I'm the one teaching it. So I get iced out a lot. I don't know that those are my favorite. I like it better in other games. Why have something to give a little bit more valuable than I do in this one? In this one, you're going to be going to Nuremberg. You're going to have different things you can build, like outposts, the walls, and etc. So a little bit more and different things that you can build. I found it to be very similar to Catan. Now, when I posted my written review, a lot of people, some people argue with me and were like, hey, this sounds different. And some people said this was their favorite one of the bunch. Perhaps. But by this point, I'm kind of burnt out on Catan. It's not a game system that I enjoy very much anymore. So I'm going to go back in time and tell you what I would have liked about this. Yes, if you're going to play Catan, I think this is a very strong addition. It has a little bit more complexity to it, some things that you can actually add to the system. And I think it works very well. The trading becomes even more important in this one as you go forward, and you're getting prestige points and victory points, and all works together, but it's a little bit more complex than the original game. So that will play into this. So if you play Catan and you love it, love it, love it, you want to jump up a little bit in complexity, I think this is one that you could absolutely add to your collection and enjoy it quite a bit. So for me, it's going to be a Purge, but I think this one is one, if you're a fan of Catan, maybe you missed it, maybe you haven't got there yet, you should go back and check out. Maybe they're going to re-release one day. I don't know what they're doing with the brand now, but this is one that I thought was good enough that I should share with you today. While it's not one that I enjoyed all that much, I can definitely see how fans of Catan would like it. Here is Die Siedler von Nurnberg, which is a spin-off of the Settlers of Catan. Here you will see inside, you're going to get a little booklet that will tell you a little about the history of it. You're going to get this little setup thing here, which will be a player aid also, all in German. These are just my English rules that I printed out, and you're going to get a little pamphlet about the city, the real city itself, and an almanac. Then you're going to get a board. The board's really nice and thick. Now this will be a Settlers of Catan game that already has things printed on there, so there's not going to be a lot of setting up however you see fit. You'll just see that this will be a static board with this over here, which I'll show you more of it, but for suffice to say, I didn't like some of the drab colors on it, but the board is fine, and it folds up into 6s, and you'll have that. Then you have, I don't say a custom insert, but kind of. You're going to have these tiles here. These are thick and nice. These little small hobbit-sized cards with just the resources on it. A number of chits and money that will be in here. Everything just kind of sits in here. You're going to have the bag here with, I put all the little pieces in it. They're going to have all the little wooden parts and the different colors that you're going to have. And these are kind of like your classic Catan pieces. Everything is nice and wooden and crunchy. So, circa 1999. So this is what I print out for the English rules. It has the contents here and has a little bit of suggestions about how you play. The gameplay is very easy. On a printed out sheet of paper, it's just a couple pages, and the rules are pretty easy to digest, how you win it in the event card descriptions on the back. I can't read German, so I can't comment on the regular rules. This is what I had to print off of BGG. So here's the board you're going to have set up. You're going to have a little side over here where you're building the walls, and some of the trade market will happen. Then you'll have your classic set of Catan stuff going on over here. This will be the tracker for time. The game will end here if somebody doesn't have 13 victory points, and whoever has the most will win. Each turn you're going to turn over one of these event cards, which will tell you here what number of spaces on the board will produce resources. So in this case would be 3. So the 3 locations on the board would produce resources over here. And then normally you're going to have an event that would occur. And each of these can be a little bit different. For the most part though, you're going to produce the resources for whatever it is here. So the 3s would produce, and then the event that would occur down here. So for this card would be the right-of-way card. So for each, whoever has the right-of-way for this road would get 1 coin from each of his opponents. This card right here would move the robber to this location. If he's already there, then obviously he doesn't move, but this would move the robber. Here is the robber, so the robber would take effect when this card came out. Then you might have a card like this that just brings resources out and no negative or positive effect will occur. So there's any number of events that can come out and kind of trigger different things, but just be aware that you're not rolling dice, that these cards are telling you which spaces on the board to populate, so a little different than regular Catan. So next step of the phase is going to be the majority of what you're going to be doing in the game. So now you can do one of three things. I'll show you each of the things. So you can trade your resources. As you gather resources in the game, you can make trade with your opponents. Any trade is possible, doesn't really matter. Or you can trade with the bank for a 4-to-1 ratio. So if you had 4 of a kind, I could trade that, or 4 cards, I could trade that for 1 of another type with the bank. So it kind of sets the price of what's going to be happening. Or, if you have the workshop, it would only require 3. So first thing you can build on your turn is a toll station. It looks a lot like a road, right? So you can play a brick and a wood, and then you have to place a road out on the board. Just kind of know that you have to start from Nuremberg and kind of build out from there. So you would take one of these locations and put your toll station down on it. Now, if you're the first person to build a toll station, you have the now right of way that you'll be utilizing throughout the game, which will signify which road you're coming out of. The next thing you can build is a settlement, which will be 1 wood, 1 brick, 1 grain, and 1 sheep. Sounds very familiar, I'm sure. And you can put this on the crossings of hexes as long as there is a road. So maybe you want to go here. So when these places activate, you'll be able to get some goodies while you're there. Each settlement is worth 1 victory point each. Next, you can build a workshop, which is also worth 1 victory point each. Costs you 2 grain and 3 stones. And when you build these, you can only place them at the red crossings on the board. So you can place them here, 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 out on this side of the board over here. Next thing you build is a city wall. These will cost you 1 brick and 3 gold. Now when you build these, they will go on the outside of the city, and you will start right here and start building. Each one of these is worth 1 victory point each. 1 prestige point for each city wall that he builds, and these will allow you to create different things as you go through the game. Now these towers can be built. They're going to cost 1 brick, 1 wood, and 3 gold, these little cardboard chits that you'll have. And whenever you build a triangle in here, you'll be able to put one of these towers out, and these are worth 2 prestige points for each tower that is built. So that's what these little tower things will do right here. You also have these commodities that will be on the board over here. And one of your actions you can take would be to sell or manufacture these. Now each of them will have what is required to purchase it. So here you have 3 of these and 1 wood, and you'd be able to produce this right here. Then you will sell it on this board by whoever has the right-of-way. So if you're selling what's in Frankfurt, then whoever has the right-of-way for this road will then be compensated as such. So you would look here where the helm would be sold to Frankfurt, and this would tell you how much compensation they would have. You can see the same thing here in Prague. How much compensation they would get for using the right-of-way of their roads. So as you can see, there's quite a bit more going on in here, just the regular Settlers of Catan, where normally you'd have this corresponding with a dice roll. You have a little bit more of the city wall manipulation, these towers that are going on, and they're able to build and manufacture these goods that will correspond to what you're doing on this side of the map as you sell these things off. That's kind of an overview. You also have turns that will be tracked here. Once again, if somebody gets to the top, the timer gets to the top, and nobody's got to 13 victory points, which would be an automatic victory. Whoever has the most will win the game. Who should buy this game? Fans of Catan. I mean, if you really like that, if you play Catan a lot, you want something a little different, then Nuremberg would be one that you could jump out and get. And it's regarded as one of the better ones of the Catan family. And I think this is one that you should check out if you like that. If you like trading in your games, you say, I don't even know what Catan is. Do you like trading things you go back with? If you play Monopoly, if you like that aspect of it, of the trading and wheeling and dealing, this could definitely be something you could enjoy. Although, you know, if you haven't played any Catan games, I'd probably tell you to stick with vanilla Catan. There's some expansions you can add into that, and then branch off onto the cousins and brothers and sisters of Catan, if you will. But for my taste, it's going to be a purge. I don't think I'm going to go back to Catan very often anyway.